Hello my friends all over the world, wherever you are. Today I'm going to make a juice with an abundance of greens, and I have here watercress going to flower and curly leaf kale and a number of other greens and ingredients. Let's look at those ingredients now. Now here I have curly leaf kale here and here, watercress, some collard leaves, ginger, garlic, about 130 grams of turmeric. I'm putting French sorrel in because the watercress tends to make a juice very, very bitter, and I want to sweeten it up with French sorrel and of course carrots. So now before I start making juice, I want to point out that I'm using the near zero blowback cutter that has over 80 teeth cut into it, and it shreds produce 4 degrees cooler. Now we'll install that cutter. And I'm also using the Whole Health Foundation front loading feed tube. This eliminates blowback to your ceiling 100%. Now if you have a Norwalk juicer with a straight up and down feed tube, you can have that modified. Just contact me and I'll tell you the cost. So the first thing I will do is plug in the thermometer and then put in 3 or 4 ice cubes. That I'm using the J for greens, or for juice that is, grid with 3/16 inch holes. That does a better job on greens. So I'm going to start with my kale and continue with that until I'm done. Now greens are very, very fibrous, and I see my temperature's already up to 24. You can go as high as 35. But I like to keep my temperature below 20, so I'm going to put in 3 more ice cubes. And continue with the curly leaf kale. And I'll switch to some collards, put some of those through. Some turmeric, a whole head of garlic, and the ginger. And continuing with the curly leaf kale. A little more turmeric in there. More turmeric. And here's the last of my collard greens, and then we'll do the rest of the kale. And continuing with kale. Now here's the last of my kale. Now before I start with my French sorrel, which is the last of my greens, I'm going to clean the grid. Clean the grid often. The more often you clean it, the easier it is on your juicer. So now, the French sorrel. Now the next thing I'm going to do is feed in a couple of carrots to flush all those greens through. Now before I clean my grid again, I'm going to put some carrots through and let the pulp come out, because I notice I have a little puddle of juice there, and carrot pulp is excellent for absorbing juice. one more time. Get that carrot pulp to absorb that juice, then push it through. Next, I'm going to clean my grid of all the greens that are on there, and then continue with carrots until we're done. How this carrot was very large, so you always want to get in the habit of putting the large end in first. I notice my temperature is about 20. It's about 23. That's not bad. You can go up as high as 35. But as I've said before, I like to keep mine below 20. Now here's the last of my carrots. I want to point out again, one of the things I love about this front-loading feed tube, you can look in here and I can see everything is shred, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to put a couple of fingers full of pulp and force anything through that might be hidden under that pulp that I see in there. So the next step is to unplug the thermometer, clean the grid, set that in the sink, and we'll clean that a little bit later. And the next step is to clean the feed tube and the grid and the cutter, and then we'll reassemble the clean parts, mix the produce, and make the juice. So you can see there's some carrot pulp on the cutter. We'll scrape that off with my finger, and put that in the sink. I think with a knife here, we'll get the rest of that pulp out of that feed tube. I'm going to use the cleaning brush that comes with all juicers sold by Whole Health Foundation. Clean the cutter and make sure that you get that little plug of pulp in the end set screw and any other set screws. And also we're going to clean the feed tube. This brush is the perfect size for cleaning the feed tube. Now with the same cleaning brush, clean the front, go up on the left, down on the right. The reason for that is when you go up on the left, you're unscrewing the wing nuts, and down on the right, you're unscrewing the wing nuts. So give the front a good cleaning. And with a damp towel or with a spray nozzle like I'm doing, clean the front, reassemble, and then mix your produce and make some juice. Now I'm going to mix my pulp, but before that I want to point out you put the cutter with the hole facing down on top of the feed tube. Never, and I mean never, leave it on the shaft of the motor. It'll get rusted on there. So next we will carefully mix all this greens and carrot pulp together. Now I'm taking 6 cloths out of the freezer, and I'm going to break the ice on the corner of the countertop. Make it easier to take these apart. And then we'll peel these apart and then start making juice. Now I'm going to demonstrate my 6 cloth less work method. Put the cloths in the folding tray, pull it out so that the ends do not touch the countertop, and leave some space here for the folded cloths. And we'll get a collection bowl out and the juice tray, and we'll continue. You put 3 scoops in each cloth. Later we'll put only 2 scoops because we're not going to throw away the pulp. I'm going to demonstrate how you can get 10 to 15% more juice by repackaging and pressing the spent pulp. But first, let's make juice the regular way. 3 scoops. This goes forward, that goes over, the spent cloths go on top. 2 more cloths into the press, center it again, left to right. Make sure the tray is on the press plate properly, centered front to back. Make any adjustments you need to, all the way back, back it off a little. Now, very, very important, do not throw away this pulp. Put 2 scoops, not 3, on top of that's it all the way when you're on your last claw. 2 scoops, not 3, on top. And because our bowl is full, I'm going to fill bottles. This goes forward, that goes over. I'm going to shut this off and fill bottles. Now here's a little tip. Never leave your tray like that. Tip it up, but push it back, not a little, but a lot. You want it to be very, very obvious. So let's fill some bottles, because I'm leaving 10% for either filtered or distilled water. I use distilled water because I have a water distiller. You could use bottled water. You could even use tap water if it's palatable. Now I'll pull the tray out so it's on the press plate properly. Put 2 more claws full of pulp in, and I can see it's getting very, very tight. So next we'll put only 1 scoop. Centered left to right. Make any adjustments if you need be. All the way back, back it off a little bit. Now the reason you back it off is you do not want this to go up too fast. If it goes up too fast, it'll slip apart, and even pulp will come out of your claws and make a huge mess that you don't want to have to clean up. So this is pretty thick. I'm going to put 1 huge scoop on top instead of 2. And we'll do the same on the second cloth. Continue with 1 scoop until we're done. One scoop, maybe a tiny bit more. That's it all the way when you're on your last cloth. Flatten that, set it aside. This goes forward, that goes over. The spent cloths go on top. And you can see the rhythm that I'm getting into here. Centered left to right, centered front to back, adjust if need be, all the way back, back it off a little bit. Now we're going to continue with 1 scoop until we're done. Flatten that, set it aside, and again 1 scoop, not 2, because this patty is very, very thick. This goes forward, that goes over. I should have advanced that when I was on my last cloth, but no matter, we're going to fill it up again. Let's just continue. Got most of the juice out of that anyway. Centered left to right, centered front to back, adjust if need be, all the way back, back it off. And we continue with 1 scoop. Down to my last cloth, so I'm going to use a spatula to get all this precious pulp out of the collection bowl. And I'll set this aside and clean this later. Now I remind you, never throw away your pulp until the very, very end. That goes forward, that goes over. The spent cloths go on top. Flatten that as much as you can. Put it in there. Make sure it's on the press plate properly, centered left to right, centered front to back, all the way back. Back it off. Oh, we're full here, so we're going to have to put that into bottles. Good thing I noticed that, or I would have got it all over my countertop. So I'm going to set that back a lot and fill more bottles. 10% for filtered or distilled water. As I said, you could even use bottled water or tap water, depending how palatable it is. I use distilled water because I have a water distiller. Pull that tray forward, and we have 2 full cloths full of pulp there, so we'll turn that on, all the way back, back it off a little bit. Now what I'm going to do with this already spent pulp is I'm going to fold it into a tight package. I want to demonstrate how you can get at least 10% more juice. And remember, this is pulp that most people would throw away. So we're going to repackage it. And I'm going to fold these folds under several times, as many times as I can, in both directions, and that's to prevent slippage. And we don't want this to come apart. So turn it upside down, flatten it, advance that all the way. And we still have one set of full clouds there, but with these we're going to fit into press into a tight ball. And to remind you again, we're going to demonstrate how we can get 10% or more juice from pulp that most people would throw away. And by the way, your best nutrients are in that last pressing of your pulp. Now, my friends, as you can see, I've repackaged the already spent pulp. This is pulp most people would throw away because nobody tells them there's more juice in there, like I'm telling you. So luckily you've seen this video or others and you know there's more juice in here. So I'm going to press this down as much as I can, put 2 repackaged cloths full of pulp in the press, right in the center. And again, centered left to right, centered front to back, adjust if need be. And all the way back, back it off. Again, the reason you back it off is you don't want it to go up too fast and slip apart. And I'm using a measuring beaker to measure how much juice we're going to get. Now, because you have a solid bottom plate on a whole health foundation model, you can leave this tray up as long as you want, usually about a minute or so. You can leave it up all day if you want to. Now you see I've got droplets there, so we'll back that off. Put in 2 more cloths. This is repackaged pulp, and once you get juice flow, advance that all the way. Ounces so far. Ooh, it almost overshot. Once you get juice flow, advance it all the way. Now, there's 16 ounces so far. Well, I'm going to repackage this this pulp. Looks like we're going to get almost 18 ounces. And we still have a steady, yes, 18 ounces. So let's repackage these one more time. I'm going to put these 18 ounces in the collection bowl and repackage this already spent pulp. Let's turn that off while we're waiting. See if we get any more than 18 ounces out of this pulp. Now, as you can see, I've repackaged the already pressed pulp, pressed the second time, but I've repackaged it. And the reason I repackaged it, I noticed that the cloths full of repackaged pulp was too wide. So let's see how much more juice we can get by repackaging the already pressed and spent pulp. Right in the center, left to right, front to back, adjust if need be, all the way back. Back it off a little. And once you get juice flow, advance that all the way. Okay, we'll put in our third and last repackaged pulp, and I see these are still too large. You could probably repackage it a third time. Let me press that down a little more. Make sure it's on the press plate properly, centered left to right, centered front to back, all the way back, and back it off a little. So far 8 ounces. Advance that all the way. Now, as you can see, I've repackaged it a third time. We have 12 ounces here. The first time we got 18 ounces, we have 12 now. Let's see how much more juice we can get by repackaging a third time. And the reason I repackaged it a third time, the patties were very, very wide. All the way back, back it off a little bit. And let's see if we get any more juice. About 17 ounces so far, and whoop, there we get more. It looks like we're going to get more than 18, almost 19 ounces, so I better stop that because it's going to overflow. So what I'm going to do now is set this back. 18 and 19, and we'll press that again. So 37 ounces so far extra. Yeah, it looks like an extra 40 ounces of juice. Probably more than that if we repackaged it another time. But for the sake of brevity of this video, we're going to stop now. Now I'm topping this off with water so that there's no air in the bottle whatsoever. And now I'm going to cap them off. Because these claws started squirting at me, what I'm going to do is press the water out and put them on the line to dry. And I also want to remind everyone watching this video, there's always a calcium buildup around the edges. So you want to get in there with one cloth and clean that calcium buildup. I have seen some juice trays with so much calcium on it you have to soak it for 3 or 4 days in vinegar. So let's fold these cloths into thirds, press the water out, and these are going to go on the laundry line in the backyard to dry. And next session I'm going to start with a brand new set of cloths that I've already laundered. I'm going to use a sponge to collect this. You could use any kind of container. Well, let's use a container just to show you that you can. But you want to make sure it doesn't overshoot, because it will if you don't position it properly. So there you have it. And we'll put these on the line outside to dry and switch to a new set of cloths tomorrow or the next time I do juice. Now my friends, as you can see, we have 5, 10, 15 bottles of juice and a little for a taste test. And remember, about 2.5 of these bottles came from pressing the already spent pulp that most people would throw away. So if you're watching this video, do not throw away your pulp until you repackage it and press it again. So let's do a taste test. My friends, here we have another batch of juice, and this one with watercress, which I pointed out in the early part of the video, is very bitter. Let's see if adding French sorrel to the mix makes it any sweeter. Well, I can taste the bitterness, but not as bitter as it would be without the French sorrel. I can also taste the French sorrel. Well, my friends, I hope you like what you've seen, and if you do, please tell a friend. If you'd like to call me, my phone number is 760-753-0321. My email address is developtrust@cox.net, and my webpage is wholehealthfund.com. I'll see you in the next video.